Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So have you ever said this, or you've heard it from somebody where they say, I just feel stuck. I'm stuck. Things aren't moving. I feel off. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's your energy, and maybe the energy is literally stuck. We are going to talk about that and how to, I guess, get unstuck. And it's all through the magic of Reiki, which is a principle of energy healing. It's been around for a long time, a long time. And people still talk about it and still practice it. There are so many great practitioners out there, and I found one for you. She does Reiki, she does yoga, and she is Linzi Schreiner, and she is back with us. How you doing today?
Hi, Steve. I'm good. Thank you for having me back.
I'm glad we're talking about this because I feel that we all, and this is my interpretation, we all have this thing called stuck energy somewhere, somehow within our bodies for different reasons. And why don't we go there? When you have energy that's stuck, what does it feel like? Or do you not even know?
Some people don't know.
Mm.
And that, for me, I didn't know. But energy stagnation or stuck energy happens when emotional, mental, or physical experiences get literally stuck in our bodies. And instead of being able to process and release those emotions or those experiences, it can feel like a tightness or a heaviness or even a numbness. And sometimes it shows up in exhaustion or irritability or even repeating emotional cycles or patterns of behavior. And it's just the body's way of saying something here needs attention.
So how about, and we've talked about trauma before, not to scare anybody, it could be a little thing, if you want to call it that, from your childhood or a situation or confrontation with somebody that's causing energy somewhere within your body to get stuck. Can you give an example?
Yes. So it doesn't have to be, like you said, it doesn't have to be something super traumatic, but let's use a simple example of getting into an argument with your partner.
Mm.
You get into an argument, there's tension there, and you have words or needs that you maybe want to express, but are afraid of causing additional stress or tension between the two of you. And so instead of speaking those into existence and speaking your truth, you keep that within yourself. Well, unfortunately, when we don't speak our truth, when we don't express our needs and they're left unmet, that then can become stuck energy and stagnant energy. I don't know if you've ever heard the statement that dis-ease can cause disease, and that's referring to stuck energy or unspoken needs that we never had met. Eventually, it can manifest itself into a physical ailment.
Would you say that energy within us, it has to go somewhere, excuse me, whether you go to the gym and you just exercise and you're expending energy in one way. Maybe it's not the stuck energy, but it's got to go somewhere. It can't just stay in one place or stagnant because it's going to cause issues.
It will cause issues. And there's common areas that energy gets stuck. And so even if you're not a metaphysical person and maybe you don't buy into all of the woo, for a moment, I'm just going to ask you to take a breath, our listeners, and just for a second, put your feet on the floor. Steve, you too. I'll do it with you. Let's put our feet on the floor. Close your eyes for just a second and take a breath. And just begin to notice in your body maybe where you're finding any tension today. For me, it's in my shoulders and my upper back area, and my lower hip area. Do you notice any tension in your body?
It's always in my stomach.
Your stomach. And that's
It's
another
always.
common space. And there's 7 common spaces that we feel stuck energy. There's throat area, and it can feel like a lump in your throat or even a pain in your throat. And that comes from unspoken truth or boundary issues where maybe you're not setting proper boundaries and people are crossing your boundaries a lot. There's the heart space, which also impacts our shoulders, our arms, kind of like that upper back area.
I never
And
knew
that's
that
going to,
that was heart connected. Thank you for that.
it is, it
Mm.
is. And it's
And
tied to grief, love wounds, and overgiving.
I do feel a little bit of that, and I shouldn't because for the first time in a long time, I went to a chiropractor yesterday afternoon, and it was great. Oh my God, it was like crack, crack here, and had a Groupon, and it was fantastic, and so much relief. And I shouldn't really feel anything right now because that's been cleared out in terms of the chiropractic situation. But I feel a little something like what you're describing, and I never knew that was heart connected.
It's
Mm,
heart connected, but chiropractor is also a great way to move stagnant energy. I'll get to that, all the ways that we can move energy. Reiki is just one of the many ways.
sure.
Um, but then there's also the stomach, like you mentioned, that it's tied to control, identity, self-worth. The lower stomach area is another common space, or lower back, creative blocks, intimacy, shame, legs and feet, or your tailbone pain or tension. Maybe in your knees, you're feeling tension and pain, and that's resistance to movement, and you're needing to ground, or maybe you're feeling very insecure, unsafe in your existence. Um, and as a Reiki practitioner, when someone's telling me about their body, that's one of the first questions I ask is, hey, where do you experience the most tension? Because it kind of helps guide me to some of the areas within their energy center that need some attention, or maybe we've got some blockage occurring.
Wow. Um, I very rarely, but it comes up. One particular knee just feels a little funky sometimes, and then it goes away, and
Is
then it
it the
might come
left or
back.
the right side?
It's the right.
The right. So over functioning in that masculine energy,
Hmm.
maybe you need more movement there, but we can coordinate it to the side of the body, and which energy center, which energy channel needs a little bit more attention as well. Like typically, maybe a man is over functioning in the masculine energy. Women do it too, over performing, over action. It could be tied to even the fact that you have some masculine blocks tied to the root chakra, maybe a father wound or a grandfather wound, or something that's coming forward through
Hmm.
your heritage that needs addressed. Maybe it's something that you didn't experience, but someone in your family lineage did. And now it's up to you to heal that. There's so many fun ways we could dive into, even just Steve, and in sensations you're feeling inside the body, and ways that we can work with that from an energetic perspective.
All I'm going to say is I got a flash of clarity based on what you just said. I don't even go into the detail, but it was like, oh, interesting. Um, I could see what you're talking about. And there's another reason why, again, not even worth getting into. I could share, but it doesn't even matter. But I see what you're saying, how that there can be a reason for the knee pain. It's actually kind of
Right.
interesting. Hmm.
Let me give an example, because I'll be vulnerable for a minute, because I think people need real life examples. So I have a daughter with special needs. I've shared that throughout this journey with you, and she has had a lot of health concerns, and there's been a lot of uncertain moments in our life with her. And I never knew until probably 3 years ago. She's 8. So about 3 years ago, I started checking in with myself. I started having really bad lower back issues after she was diagnosed. And I thought it was more physical ailment. I didn't really understand the energetics of it yet.
Hmm.
But that pain continuously happened, to the point where I was spending thousands of dollars at chiropractors. I was getting MRIs, seeing if I had slip discs, the whole 9 yards. And 3 years ago, she had brain surgery, and her seizures stopped, and the lower back pain went away. And when we would have moments in her journey that were uncertain again, that pain would come back. Well,
Wow.
that's in the lower back region, and where the female uterus is. I gave birth to her, and I realized that pain was actually me, because I didn't have any control over the situation. I was losing my identity through her experience, because I was giving so much of myself to her. And I had little self-worth, because my daughter wasn't thriving, so therefore I wasn't thriving. And so I really had to work with those energies. And now when that pain comes forward, I recognize my body's warning sign, and I go, whoo, what am I trying to control that isn't for me to control? Am I standing in my truth? Am I being true to who I am in this moment? Or am I overgiving? And do I believe in my self-worth right now? Am I worthy of what is happening to me? And I also feel that sensation when I am giving birth to something huge in my life. Maybe I'm going through a transition. When coming into this podcast was a big deal for me, and I had a lot of lower back pain. And what I've associated to that is it's points in my life where I am literally giving birth to creation into something new, or I'm controlling too much because it can be good or it can be bad. It's like my body's way of telling me that something's going on.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And you've shared before that in your personal situations, but also in your children, that this Reiki energy healing has been a game changer, right?
It has been, and it is a game changer for me and my family and my kids. So again, I feel like we talk about this every time, but you never know who's a new listener.
Um,
What is Reiki? It is a very gentle, hands-on, above energy healing practice that supports the body's natural ability to relax, restore, and release. And it's gentle, and you don't even have to know what you're holding on to. You don't even have to know what energy stagnation is happening or why it's happening. You don't need to remember the events that happened in order for Reiki to work, because it works with the energy right now, who you are in this moment, but also layers back through familiar trauma from family generational trauma. It goes and works now, it works towards the future. It's this amazing energetic healing that as soon as you say yes to it, it will gently begin to work with you in the way that you need, in the timing that is best and right for you.
that's the beauty of it, in my understanding. The energy goes where it needs to go. When you work with somebody, you're just sending it out. You're doing what you do, and it goes where it needs to. And when you think about it, this is how people healed way, way back in the day. They didn't go to CVS. They didn't go to Walgreens. They went to
Right.
somebody, a shaman, a practitioner. I'm going to share my knee discovery based on what you just said. So you said it could be male connected.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a great relationship with my father. My parents got divorced when I was very young. He passed. He just dropped out of nowhere from a heart attack when I was in my low 20s. So a lot of unresolved things there. He has been coming up in different scenarios, situations, epiphanies in the last like month or so. Just out of nowhere. It's weird. Like, oh, I never realized that. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, and then my knee pain would pop up and then it would go away. Weirdest thing. And there was a couple of times where I'd wake up in the middle of the night. Maybe I had a dream. Don't remember it. Had the knee pain. Here's the for me today with you in terms of what you just said. I just remembered that he used to have some knee pain. So
Funny how that works.
I,
So I wasn't going to say this, but now I'm going to, because I was afraid it was too woo for this network. The knee chakras are also tied to loved ones on the other side trying to come in contact with us. And so the left knee pain would make sense with him coming up as much as he's coming up for you right now.
mm,
It's probably his way of letting you know that he's here.
and my mom comes through all the time, very specific messages, very like I'm a skeptic. I need to know. She sends her name. I mean, I could go on forever. It blows my mind. Now I'm used to it. He's never come through. I've asked, even through psychics, once here and there, but nothing, to her degree. Um, Maybe what you're saying, because he's been more top of mind in the past month or so, maybe that's what's happening. What's happening? And I know it's a little woo for some, but trust me, I've been connected to psychics, major ones, all of that for more than 25 years. I've seen everything. So nothing surprises me.
It's woo for some until they've had a loved one pass away and they're desperate to receive a sign. And then we all of a sudden will accept that a cardinal is our loved one passing. Seeing a butterfly floating around when you're thinking about them is a sign from them. And the reality is we can ask for signs. You
Sure.
could ask your dad for a direct sign. Is this you? This is what I want to see. And then you just have to let it go and wait for that sign to come through. But Steve, it sounds to me like you're beginning to heal layers that maybe he left behind.
Hmm.
And so his support is there with you. And I think that's beautiful.
This is how it works.
This is how it works. Yeah, we should do a
Yeah.
live Reiki session.
I just want to share with you, 7 major chakras, and we can explain that in a moment. But I never knew that there were other parts of the body connected to those chakras or energy. Like you say, the knees are connected to something. I don't view it that way. I'm not the expert. I just hear what I hear. I hear, we have the throat chakra, we have the sacral chakra, we have the root chakra, different parts of your body, and that's it. I don't know. There was a connection to, the elbow, the knee, and things like that. There's where you come in. That's
The whole body, honestly. What is that song? The knee bone's
that's
connected to
connected
the
to
hip
the
bone. Yeah,
right.
it's all connected. But
Wow.
how does Reiki help in the stagnation? Why
Mm,
does it work? Reiki doesn't force. We've talked about this, but it invites. When the energy is stagnant, Reiki helps restore flow by creating a space of deep safety. Because we've talked about this before as well. There is no healing if you don't feel safe. And so that is my number one
mm,
focus when I'm working with people, newer clients. We have to make them feel safe, because if we don't feel safe, we can't heal. We can't be safe enough to release. So first, Reiki is going to help us feel safe in our body. And when we feel safe, that's when the magic begins to happen. It's where the body can finally let go. And it gently guides stuck energy towards movement without pressure. And it often brings, as you've said many times, clarity, release, or even physical lightness. I have so many that come in and say, "Oh, my neck is killing me. My knee is killing me," the whole nine. And after the session, I didn't really experience much, but you know what? I don't hurt. My knee pain's gone. My back isn't hurting. Um, when I was running the yoga studio, I did a full moon event every full moon where we incorporated yoga, movement, breath work, and Reiki. And I would have people come from all over that could barely move, that struggled with knees or backs, all ages. And at the end, they would come up to me with tears in their eyes because their pain was gone.
mm. You are very humble, but I'm going to call you out and say I just learned something else from you. Um, I've suggested Reiki. I've suggested hypnotherapy for those who are close to me. And sometimes they'll say, man, it didn't do anything. It didn't work. And even somebody a loved one, very obviously close to, suggested hypnotherapy, another healing modality. Worked for me great. 3 times, they're like, it didn't work. Yeah, I don't feel anything. Yeah, I'm not going to continue. I'm like, oh, that's a shame. Now, their personality, I would think, well, they're just not open to it. And that's why it didn't work.
Yeah,
It's not just that. You said it, the S word. They didn't feel safe. That's what it
they don't feel
is.
safe.
You have to feel
Yeah.
safe. And I never thought of it in that way. But that's the answer. You have to feel safe. It's not that they don't want it to work. It's not that they don't want to heal. For some reason, they didn't feel safe.
We're all looking for that secret button to push to make everything better in our lives.
Sure.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't. It comes through hard work and willingness to see yourself, but none of that can even begin until you have this awareness that you need work, that the problem isn't the world, that it's actually your perception of what's going on and your unwillingness to face those things. How many people do you know that you see go through the same cycle all the time? And if you try to bring it to their awareness, they kind of attack you. It's not intentional. They really just don't see that maybe they're part of their own problem. And just
Mm,
like with drug addicts or alcoholics, there is no healing until we're willing to admit that there's a problem. There is no healing until we admit that we need help. And once you admit that you need help, there's a plethora of options out there for you, Reiki being one of them, of ways to begin to heal yourself. But we have to feel safe. We also have to have the willingness to heal. Some of us hold on to those wounds because it's what feels safe and normal for us.
exactly. Yeah. I think my major takeaway here is the safe feeling. And just there's another view of it. in a, I guess, a negative way, that people hold on to certain things, be it addiction or whatever, because that now feels safe. We just want to feel
Right.
safe. We want, you know, when you're a kid, when you're a baby, what do you want? Hold me, mommy, make me feel
Safety.
safe. It's,
Right.
it's
Right.
human nature. It makes perfect
Well,
sense.
and
I never thought of it.
that's the epitome of the root of where all of our blocks come from.
Mm,
Moments of feeling unsafe. And in those moments, our body creates a pattern. And that's where the cycle begins. And the cycle didn't get created to keep you unwell, the cycle was created to keep you safe. And so we have to identify those things and then be willing to break those patterns of behavior
yeah.
because it's in the uncomfortable moments that healing begins.
Stop doing that. You're what you're saying. I just heard last night, and I read something um, that fasting is very important and can really holistically help you. We don't need to eat like we do. We eat for
No.
pleasure. We don't eat to survive. And if you were to fast, again, I just read this and it's making sense to me. But if you were to fast, not crazy fasting, but skip breakfast, go 16 hours, whatever it might be, you're now getting out of your comfort zone, and that's where you will start seeing certain things that will help you heal. And if it's not, the fasting thing, it could be anything. It could be an addiction. It could be hanging with the wrong people. You do it because it's a habit and
And it's comfortable,
it's comfortable. Even though it's not
right?
good, it's comfortable. And until,
Growth doesn't happen when we're comfortable. It just
right?
doesn't.
Yeah.
Some people are cool with that though, like keeping it melancholy, keeping things, going at a straight line. No one can see my hand move it. I talk with my hands. But in my lifetime, and I'm sure in yours, I bet some of the most amazing experiences and most, I don't know, what's the word? I can feel it, but I can't say it. Like those moments in your life that become a core memory or moments of growth where you really shifted into the next chapter or even started the next book of your life.
Mm-hmm.
It did not happen in a time of feeling comfortable. It
Mm-hmm.
happened in a time of you going outside of your comfort zone and being willing to try something new and being willing to fail. We are so afraid of failing. But the reality is, it's more painful to never start. We talked about this 3 episodes ago, I think, where you were kind of holding back on something. You had a partner that you were doing some business with that
Yep.
wanted things to be perfect, and then somebody beat you to launch or something similar to that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then we talked even then about if you would have just gone after it before you were ready, everything probably would have fallen into place. We spend so much time getting training or holding yourself back, waiting to pursue something in our life. But it's that moment of like, I'm just going to go for this. And it's unknown, right? It's like standing on the cliff and not knowing what's in the water that you're about to jump into, but the safety net always appears. It's like as soon as we're willing to take that jump and go into the unknown, that is when things begin to open up. That is when growth happens. And that's when we transform into who we want to be. Because guess what? I have a secret for you. What you desire, it desires you even more. It's
Mm.
not some made up fantasy in your head. It's because your soul wants that too. There's a reason you have that desire, and desires are not bad. We've been trained to believe that desires are wrong. Absolutely not. It is a breadcrumb to the trail you're supposed to follow and what you are meant for. So maybe for just a moment, take a breath and think about, man, what do I desire? And if you don't know, schedule a session with me. You have blocked energy.
Mm. And I want to even add another D word, deserve. Desire,
Deserve.
but deserve. Because when you say deserve, it's what should be.
You're worthy of it.
You're worthy of it.
We don't believe we're worthy. And again, that is a blocked energy channel that is all tied to your solar plexus, your stomach, as you said. That is all about that inner child and how much healing you've done with your own inner self, because at some point in time in your life, you were told that you were too much, or that you didn't deserve what you wanted, or you weren't worthy of that, or you began to believe that about yourself. And it's just not true. You
Mm.
are worthy of your desires. There's a reason that it's calling to you, and it's because it's meant for you, and you are so worthy.
Final question today. I heard this. I want your feedback. Just short answer is fine. When we have a memory, a bad memory, not a sad memory, whatever it might be, something not, happy and joyful, it's your body saying, I brought that up because you need to heal. Do you think that's true?
Yes, I do. I think when those memories bounce up, it's an opportunity for us to look at it, journal about it, um, bring it to the light, as we like to say, because it's asking to be seen in a different way. And I would recommend having a journal when those memories come up, pull it out and just write about it.
Mm.
And that leads me to something I wanted to share. I hope we have time. Um, that there are other ways to support your energy without having to schedule an energetic healing session. Breath work and body scanning works great. Journaling, as I just suggested, it's a great way to let go of what the body's holding on to. You can even place your hands on spaces that feel tension and just invite them to release. Movement is key. So, walking, yoga, running, dancing, those stretching, those are great ways to move blocked and stored energy. Water, taking showers, taking baths, drinking
Mm.
water with intention of releasing stuck energy, very, very effective. And then receiving, let yourself be witnessed and heard and held by a friend, by a therapist. It doesn't really, you can speak out loud to nobody, but give yourself permission to speak what you are feeling, because that is such a great release. And crying. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, tears are so healing.
That's why we have them. I don't think,
Mm-hmm.
maybe we're the only species that actually sheds tears. I think it might be. But
Maybe.
chemically, there's a reason for it because it's a release. That old phrase, oh, it's all bottled up inside me. Yes, it is. And it's not necessarily a good thing. Thank you for today, Linzi. How do we find you?
You can find me at my website, www.plyhealing. You also can hang out on me on social media at PLY Healing, and would love to connect with you.
Again, thank you. For me, some epiphanies here and better understanding on how this all works, and I appreciate it. And we'll catch up next time.
See you next time, Steve. Thank you.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.